Hello, hello. Welcome to the weekly review. I am your host, Serak the Mike. Unfortunately, Sean the King Notorious, as he goes by, can't make today. I think he's feeling a little bit under the weather, but in his place is a good friend of mine. You may have, if you're a fan of Netflix, I say this, you most likely have seen this guy. Actually, it's 100% guaranteed that you have seen him, and you may not known who he was, but I do know. But I know who he was. My great friend Robert Walker Branch. I always say that wrong. Is it Is it Branchard?
It's Branchaud.
Branchaud also goes by Wubba, but that's a totally different story. How you doing, Robert? How you been?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. I'm gonna keep my head above water in this weird time.
Yeah, it's insane, man. It's like the bad thing is with the pandemic, everybody gets sick. We lose lives. The economy suffers, but I don't want to say the good thing or if there is any good thing, but I feel like, when you struggle with something as a group of people, you tend to, I guess, get closer, and everybody is kind of like in the same boat. So we all like are understanding of each other. Like, doesn't matter where you're at, like I said, I'm here in Tampa, you're there in Atlanta, but we're both kind of dealing with the same sort of things. And given your line of work, how has that personally affected you, or just the business in general?
It's been tough. We've been completely shut down since March.
Okay.
The entire industry. There's nothing shooting TV film wise.
Okay.
So it's been definitely difficult for me, and I know a lot of my my actor friends, because it's not only just about working. Like an actor typically works on set way less than you would expect.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is, like, most of my job is actually auditioning. So I'm typically auditioning fairly frequently, a couple of times a week for TV and film jobs, where I may only work on 5, if it's a good year, I work on 5 TV shows in a year. Okay. But maybe I've auditioned for 100.
Holy you 100?
Yeah. When you say I average at least 100 auditions a year.
So when you say auditions, so I was wondering, like, are you having, like you said, 100? Are you having to go in, read a line, and go from there, or is it just like some roles you can just send them like a film reel, and they're like, all right, we like this guy?
So, all right, how an audition works is I have an agent that represents me in the entire country. Okay. There's casting directors. Casting will send the auditions to the agencies. The agencies will then basically put forth actors they think that are good for the roles. And then casting will choose which actors they want to see. From there, casting goes back to the agents and let them know, like, hey, cool, we want to see actor A, B, C, blah, blah, blah. And it's the agents that then send us the audition. They're called, the audition scripts are called sides. So they'll send us the sides. Locally here in Atlanta, in-person auditions don't really take place anymore. It's more of all, you would go to a taping studio and you'll basically record your audition and then you just email it. It's way more efficient that way. In-persons don't really happen anymore, at least here in Atlanta. They're really big out in LA still, but even LA is doing more tapes.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah. In regards to, like, it's important to have a really good reel and your reel is used, but for like a lot of the stuff that I'm auditioning for, they're seeing a lot of different people and it's the audition that gets you the gig. Your agent will send along your reel. So say like they see 60 people for a role. Casting may knock it down to 5 actors they really like for the role, and they'll send 5 to producers to decide who it is. And then maybe the producers are really torn between me and another guy. And they're not sure. They're trying to figure out, like, who would be the one. That's when the reel might come into play. They'll watch the reel and they'll go, oh, this is the guy. That could be the thing that pushes you over the edge. Or maybe if your agent's trying to, like, convince a casting director that hasn't seen you before, they're trying to, like, get you a spot because auditions are super competitive. They may show the reel in their pitch and go, hey, listen, this guy's done this. He's worked with this actor. He's been, he's a grinder. And they'll try to use the reel as a tool to at least to let you in the door to get you the audition.
All right. So it's kind of almost like a, little resume you can add to it as well. So
Right.
like, at your, stage as far as your career, I mean, in my eyes, you're extremely successful. I mean, if I could recognize you from something I didn't even know you was in, then, like I said, I think you're doing a great job. But how did you like get started in all this? Like, did you just wake up and was like, all right, I want to be an actor, or was this like a dream since like a toddler or something, or?
So I started acting at 5 or 6 years old.
Acting out.
Yeah, I was young. I was super young, and I feel super lucky. My parents enrolled me in a lot of like enrichment programs as a kid. So one of the programs was theater, but I did like ceramics, woodworking, indoor soccer, like you name it. It was like one of those types of programs, and you can pick whatever you do. So that was my first experience. And I was, from there, I fell in love with theater, and I trained throughout my entire childhood up until high school. I really pursued acting. And then after high school, I didn't know what the path was. So this was 2003, I graduated, and I still probably it's probably still the same right now. But once you graduate, how do you become an actor?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what is
Exactly.
It's not like, you go to get this degree and then this is how it works. Like, that's not really
Here you go. This is my degree. Go ahead. What's my lines?
All right, so now I'm on the show now? All right, great. So there wasn't any clear-cut path for me. So I moved away from the industry entirely. I didn't really pursue it at all. And after like doing a lot of bartending gigs, I got a job working for a human resources company. And it was a 9-to-5, 401k, pension plan, like paid vacation, all that stuff. And I was doing that for about 3.5 years. And I was managing, I don't know if you're familiar with Northrop Grumman, the military contractor.
Sounds familiar.
They're like Boeing or Lockheed Martin.
Yeah, okay.
So I was a retirement specialist managing guys that work for Northrop Grumman.
Damn, that sounds boring.
It was incredibly boring.
Retirement specialist?
Yeah.
Oh,
these
shit.
are guys like basically calling me to say, hey, I'm ready to leave the company. And I had to make sure that their pension and all that fun stuff was ready for them to.
Right. Okay.
Not fun. And I was just super unhappy. And the reason I bring up the Northrop Grumman employees is because they make really good money. And, a lot of them I talked to were also seemed unhappy.
Right.
So I saw a little parallel of like, all right, cool. I have a good job and it's a career, but I'm unhappy. And this guy is making way more money than I am. And he seems pretty grumpy every time he calls me up. Maybe there's something I'm missing. So I just happened to ask a buddy that worked for the same company of like, if he knew of any acting classes in town. And he recommended a studio in Orlando called Artsake Studio. And I literally called up Artsake that day. And I was just like, hey, do you guys have any classes going on that I can jump in? And someone had just dropped out. Like the moment I called, someone had just called to let go of their spot and they were having a class open up. So I jumped in that class, and within my first class at that studio,
crushed it.
I was able to sign with my first agent in Orlando. I was able to really start getting momentum in the Orlando market, which is super small, but I was able to at least get my feet wet.
Right. Get some experience.
And understand like, oh, this is what joy is. This is what like
fulfillment.
Fulfillment.
That's insane. Do you think like that was like lucky, or do you think it was just more of a destiny type thing?
I think a little bit of both.
Okay.
I think it definitely was lucky. I think luck is real. Like it's a super real part of our industry too. Like I'm not one of those actors that will say like, oh, there's no luck involved. There's 100% luck involved in being in the right place at the right time type of deal. But yeah, I mean, from there, I want to say within 6 months of me taking classes, I made the decision to quit my job at Hewitt and to more pursue acting as my career. And I went back to the bar industry and I became a bartender. So I was able to
pay the bills in the meantime.
Bills,
right.
while also pursuing acting. And from there, I had a buddy mate book a movie that was shooting in Atlanta.
Uh-huh.
And while he was up in Atlanta, he was getting a lot of auditions.
Mm-hmm.
Where in Orlando, we were happy to get like one audition a month or
Right.
a month.
With thousands of people fighting for it.
Yeah, he was up in Atlanta getting way more. So that was how we figured out like, oh, cool, this is what it's about. But yeah, once I quit my job, I was pretty much focused on like, this is what my life needs to be. And then when I got to Atlanta was when I really was like,
All in.
oh, this is what it's
Oh, that's why we yeah.
It's like it is. I mean, I think that's pretty much probably true for most careers. You know, you work towards something and then you get there and you realize like, oh wait, this is
what I
kind
thought
of
it would
a
be.
false peak. You know, like I need to get to that peak over there. I thought this was the top, and then you just keep on this ever evolving.
Yeah, because it's like, you know, and I've been a big believer in this, and I could be wrong, but I think it's the whole chasing after money concept, which is not a bad thing, right? Most people, you ask them, hey man, you know, what do you want to do? Oh, I want to make a lot of money. Everybody wants to be rich. Everybody wants to be extremely wealthy, but you know, they go through mediocre bullshit jobs that they hate, thinking that that's kind of the route to take. I feel like, you know, when you start, for instance, for you doing acting, when you start doing the things you actually enjoy, you know, the start is always going to be a struggle. I mean, starting anything new, you're not going to know how to do everything. You're not going to make the money you want, but I feel like eventually you make, like, the money shouldn't matter. You'll get paid for it. You'll make that money and still be able to do what you enjoy doing. So when I hear people say, well, you know, I want to be rich, like, well, you know, you need to be, you know, some type of philanthropist working in stocks. Like, you need to do like that to where you're guaranteed to make money. You can't just bounce around. And, you know, I had the same kind of experience that you did. You know, I was doing mortgages. That's how I met Will pretty much. And shout out to Will. I don't know if he's listening, but doing mortgages, and it was great money, man. You know, you have big checks cashing every month or every week or you know, whenever they gave them out. But like after a few years, you start to, it's not enjoyable anymore, you know, and that career kind of had a ceiling. I guess you can say when you work in commission, you know, it's just like, you know, you work hard, you make a lot, you slack off, you don't make as much. But it was just, you know, I could see the end and I knew it wasn't for me. But a lot of times it took me to go through that like shitty period of hating it to kind of realize and see what I really want. So I just kind of quit cold turkey and, you know, went back to school, and, you know, I'm a month away from graduating. So it's just, it's crazy how that works. Now with you, Robert, so like when, like, you know, because you've been in a lot of stuff, and obviously I know like when you first start off, you're not going to get the big featured film, the big movie roles and stuff like that. Like, how do you, like, what was your first big film, like, that, I guess, not that you're proud of, but like the first one that kind of was like, oh wow, I'm gonna be in this?
Deepwater Horizon.
Okay.
That was definitely I mean, that still to this day is the largest film I've been on, just because, I mean, like, and I mean, I've said this exact thing before, and I'll say it again, you know, for the rest of my life. Deepwater Horizon was like $150 million budget film. I can work, you know, like I can work for another 50 years and potentially never work on a film that has that type of budget, you know, like there's just something to be said to walking on a movie that they spent $20 million to build a rig that is to scale, matching the rig that went down in the, you know, like there's just something about that, the energy that you walk into that type of experience that's hard to really like compare to.
It's like the Super Bowl, you know, the
exactly,
Super Bowl
like,
movies, right?
It's one of those like moments that,
oh shit, I'm here.
You're like, oh shit, this is, you know. And I mean, so Deepwater Horizon was Mark Wahlberg, Kurt Russell, Kate Hudson, Malkovich. I mean, like, it just had A-lister after A-lister. Pete Berg was the director. It was telling a super humane story that hadn't been told. And it was one of the, it was for me, it was one of my first times working on a project that large. And I was on the project for about a month and a week, which is also pretty great. Like a lot of times at my level, I'm coming into a job and I'm there for a day, you know, or 2 days type of thing. Like I come in and I'm done.
Just do your part and go.
Yeah, you know, because it's like it's a machine. Like our job, you know, being an actor is cool and it's fun. You know, it is what it is type of thing. But it's also it is a job, you know.
Right.
So it's not like this.
You can hang around. Yeah, go ahead. You can go ahead. Hang around.
It's not like it's like this cool like hangout part. Like it's still like it's fun to work, but like there's $150 million on this movie. That's 150 million reasons why we need to all come up and have our A game. So like all those actors, and I'm a huge Pete Berg fan. I'd really love Friday Night Lights, the movie. Big fan of the TV show. I've enjoyed his movies. So as an actor, to be able to work around these people that have been doing it for so long, you know, like there's a reason why Wahlberg gets paid $20 million to do a movie.
Right.
Like, and now here I am, I'm getting to work with a guy that's at the top of the game, and I'm going to be around him for a month, and I get to see what his habits are and what he does and what he doesn't do. How does he do things? And the same goes for being around Kate Hudson or being around like anyone else. Like those are all super high level professionals.
Right.
And it's
now,
not
do you guys like when you're working with, you know, obviously there's everybody who's even on camera is considered an actor, but like, do you guys like meet up outside of the actual production? Like, it's just like strictly business? You go in, you do your lines, and you get out of there.
They're all different. I mean, every job is different. So like for my role, I was not necessarily, I wouldn't say I was in like the inner makings of the movie. You know, like I was in a few scenes,
right?
But I wasn't necessarily like a huge part of the movie.
Right.
So like if there was a table read before the movie started, I was not at that table read.
Okay.
So like, there's like a hierarchy on the set of where certain actors are in, and I wasn't there. So, but like on set or in the, you know, when you're getting your hair done or you're in the makeup trailer, like, you know, you're sitting, you know, I'm sitting in the makeup trailer and Kurt Russell's getting his makeup done and Kate Hudson's 6 seats away. And like, this is a father-daughter working on the first movie together ever. And they're just like shooting the shit, having funny stories.
Are you just sitting there like, hey, what are you guys doing after this?
Like, this is fucking Kurt Russell working with his daughter for the first time. And I'm just here, you know, like it's not, I'm not going to say like, no, like you don't hang out. There's definitely times that like after a long day, people may go grab a drink, but like a lot of times, you know, if a movie's shooting, it's shooting consecutive days. So right. Shooting a movie for 50 days and a guy like, you know, Wahlberg on that, he's shooting pretty much every day.
Okay.
You know, anywhere from 8 to 10 to 12, 14 hours. So and he's, once he's shut down on this one, so like this was years ago, he was, all right, so funny, I was shooting a scene with Wahlberg and I really enjoy working out. I know you're like a big gym guy too. And I'd always joked around, was like, oh man, if I ever get to work with The Rock, I'm going to see if The Rock wants to go work out because he loves working out and maybe he would let me train with him. So Wahlberg sitting next to me and we're like in between a scene. I was like, hey man, are you working out at all? If you're looking for a workout buddy, I would love to come just hit the gym with you one day. And he looked at me and he lifted his shirt and he hit his stomach and he was like, nah, man, I'm 100% Mike Williams on this one. I ain't hit the gym at all. He was playing the guy. His character was Mike Williams, an oil rig worker. He's like, I'm eating fried chicken and drinking beer. I ain't training like this. But he did say, like, when I finish on this one, I'm going to fly over to London and I'm going to start getting back in shape because we're shooting Transformers.
Jesus, so, like, man.
Those guys are finish one job, boom, you're on the next one. You know, like they're lined up. He's lined up for 5 years of work.
Right.
And like,
you know, that must be crazy though. Like, it's just like, you know, because obviously I seen the movie, and like I said, I know your part is short, but you know, I could just imagine myself like, hey, Mark, you think we could work together in another movie? Oh, I'm dead.
Like, I've been hoping. I've been like waiting.
Trying to sneak something in real quick. That's crazy, man. But like, so like, Would you consider that like your favorite movie you're a part of?
I favorite movie I've been a part of. I really enjoy. Did you see? I'm drawing a blank right now. Father Figures.
No,
Okay.
I didn't see that. I watched because I was watching like your film roll, and I tried to do my research a little bit. I got some stuff that you may find funny, but no, I'd never seen that. Was that the one?
So Father Figures with Ed Helms, Owen Wilson, and Cat Williams. And I was only on that movie for 2 days.
Uh-huh.
We should like two night shoots, and I had so much fun shooting that movie. Like it, it was something else, And I was on Deepwater for a month,
Mm-hmm.
and it was special for its own thing. Father Figures, I was only there for 2 nights,
And
but
it blew your mind. It
it
blew
blew
your
my mind.
mind.
'Cause, like, it's not like a lot of times I come in and I play a lot of co-stars, so
Right.
typically my job is to move a scene along. I'm there with, whether it be the A-lister or like the lead of the movie, and I'm in the
Okay.
scene with them. The focus of the movie is on that character. The
Right.
focus isn't necessarily on me. So my job isn't to be a scene stealer. Like that's not why I'm there. I'm there to make sure that the story makes sense and that it keeps flowing forward.
Okay.
So a lot of times there's not like necessarily wiggle room with what you're doing. It's pretty much the script is the script. You come, you do your job, and you move on. Where like Father Figures is a comedy, and the script was a little bit more. There was a little bit more play with that.
Right.
So when I'm shooting those scenes, I had a very like the writer came up to me and was like, "Hey, I really loved your audition. I enjoyed when you did this thing." And
Uh-huh.
that's not necessarily something that always happens. Like I've worked on plenty of movies. I've never met the writer. That's
Right.
so
Like, who wrote this shit? Like,
yeah,
my
he came
character would
over to
never
talk
say
to me.
something like that.
Well, he comes over and like, hey, if and the director was super cool. So we really early on we understood that we have some wiggle room here. We can improv.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, ironically, I knew Ed Helms' work from The Hangovers and everything, but I had never watched The Office yet. I'd never watched The Office.
You promoting it right now?
I've watched it now religiously because I don't know what took me so long. So I'm with him. I was pretty familiar with Owen Wilson's work, like I've seen all of his stuff growing up, and Cat Williams is a stand-up guy.
Mm-hmm.
And when I tell you, Cat Williams blew me away with his improv ability, I was just taken aback. Like, I was trying to stay in groove with his humor and like be ready to handle what he was saying.
Right.
And man, we would do a take, and he would go left field, and I would just be like,
That's not in the line. That's not in the
I didn't
script.
see that coming. I didn't see that coming, but it was cool to be able to like I'm improvising back and forth with again these guys that are at the top of their game and are doing
Right.
such a professional level. It's fun to have those moments there. So I really, really enjoyed my time on Father Figures.
Do you like, see how, like, realize how good you are? Because like a lot of times, there comes a point where, like you said, when you're being a supporting actor, you're in these movies with, these big names. Most people, the normal person who doesn't do it is obviously going to be like starstruck or, like, oh my God, that's so and so. But I kind of feel like, when do you get to that level where you see them as like as an equal? I guess, yeah, they may have more experience and they may, be a bigger name, but at the end of the day, we're all here to do the same job. And I think everybody has that point where you're just like, I'm just not as good, but you know what I mean? Like, I'm just as deserving.
Well, all right. So I think it's a per person. That's really just an individual thing because
Mm-hmm.
I've always had a pretty level head about that type of thing coming like from being a kid till
Mm-hmm.
now. I've never been into celebrityism.
Right.
I've never bought into, like I'm an avid basketball fan. I love sports, you know, but I'm never gonna try to get somebody's autograph. Like
Right.
I just don't care. Like to me, that stuff isn't important. So
Mm-hmm.
I think when I've been able to work with the people I've been able to work with, I personally see the difference between me and somebody else on set is they're getting paid a lot more money than me. but we're both there to do the same job. Like I'm
Right.
here to be an actor, you're an actor. I don't really ever have this like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this
Oh,
moment.
snaps.
Like I'm in over my head. Like I've never, and that just maybe, that could just be my personality and how, what I bring
Right.
to the table type of deal. I do recognize like, I've been doing this for a long enough time to know, who's got it and who doesn't type of thing. Like it's just inherently you see, to be around enough actors, you can tell like, oh, they get it,
Well, that guy's talented. That guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, like some of them talk about like exactly that guy doesn't know what they're talking about type of thing. Like you can kind of take cues by how people represent themselves or how they talk about jobs or like anyone that's trying to be a celebrity or try to be rich. Like I'll tell you right now, don't become an actor.
Yeah.
You're like, this is not the industry to work in to be rich or be famous.
Yeah, because you only see the top, 1% of the people forget to realize that, the people you see on TV or like, the big names, like there's thousands of, tens of thousands of people who are trying to do the same thing. So it's, it's hard to rise to the top and make that type of blockbuster money, as so you say.
And it just takes, it takes a long time. It takes a really long, like Chris Pratt's an example of a guy that, he was grinding for a while. He did a lot of, it was a lot of TV and before he became Chris Pratt.
What's his name in the Guardians of the God, his character? Star-Lord? Yeah, Star-Lord.
Yeah, like, but even before that, he got Jurassic World. Like he was then propelled to the next level, but he was also doing TV for 15 years before that.
Yeah, Parks and Rec, right?
Parks and Rec. He did like little guest star roles here and there, and that's how it is. I think it's important just like to keep a level head, when you're working. That I don't try to think like I'm better than anybody on set. I feel like our job is a very fluid thing, and that I recognize that the reason people are watching a movie is because of us, the actors, for the most part.
Right.
That's why you're consuming the content. But without the makeup artist and the crew, lighting, sound, directors, the camera operators, like the people cooking our food, like I recognize that everyone is super important to make the machine continue to move because there's so many moving pieces. So I make a pretty concerted effort, like to be as friendly as possible, to be as amenable as possible, and just to like kind of take it day by day and roll the punches, because I understand it's a super stressful work environment and there's a lot of pressure being put on a lot of different people.
Right.
And kind of just, I find like that's how it helps me to continue to be successful is by being that guy on set, that I'm not coming in, I don't ever have an attitude, like I'm not too good for anything.
Yeah. Where the fuck is my coffee?
Like I'm the one who's like, hey, like if I see, like, do you guys need water bottles?
You need coffee? Anybody hungry? I'm going on the store run.
It's just like, I think that's super important to, and I think that I'm not going to say that this is there's probably like variants to this, but I think probably better projects are the ones that have that type of energy.
Okay.
Versus projects that are a little bit more, people a little bit more contentious towards each other. I think you could see that attitude, like you can
in
see
the actual film.
The film and how the end result. So I just try to do my best that, and I'm not taking it for, like, I don't take it for granted too. Like my field's super competitive, and it's not like competitive in the way like I'm competing against you. Like I don't not want other actors to get jobs. That's not, if you're booking me, you're not booking other people. Like, because I'm only me, you know what I mean? No one else could be me.
Let me,
and if somebody else books it, I'm not like that.
So like, speaking of booking, like I've noticed, well, when I say I've noticed, I haven't seen like every movie you've been in, but I've noticed a few roles have been the role of the cop. Is that on purpose, or is that just like, is that what you're good at? You get what I mean? Like,
so essentially that's called typecasting.
Okay.
And I am one to, like, I think being typecast is a great thing, because the important part of that phrase is cast. Like, I mean,
I'm
if
in.
I'm being
Yes.
typecast, that means I'm
Yes.
working, and that's really the important part about this is
Uh-huh.
getting these gigs. It started off more fluky.
Hmm.
You know, it wasn't like I was trying to book cops. It just happens to be that I'm a white dude with a receding hairline. You know, that before quarantine, I had a tight fade and no beard. You know what I mean? So like, I look like a cop, and I'm a 6 feet tall. I'm a pretty wide shouldered guy.
Off
Like,
duty,
yeah,
officer.
I pull it off. So my first TV show, my first and third TV shows were cops, and I saw myself auditioning a lot for cops or
Hmm.
security guards or correction officers or anything like that. So I was just more very aware that that's what casting was seeing me as.
Hmm.
And then I started leaning into that because I was like, well, listen, if they see me as cops,
Then I got it.
then I got this. Let me just continue to do that. And then subsequently, however many years later, I've been a cop hella times. You know, that is
Yeah.
definitely. I have
So
a
we're
real.
waiting for a movie that's just strictly about cops. Like you be the lead actor in that one.
I mean, that's funny. Like that's how it happens, though. Eventually, you know, like I'm trying to get on a series. You know, like my
Mhm.
goals. Like I really love TV. I love how TV's evolved into these long form stories.
Mhm.
You know, like I watch TV all the time. I have no problem with binging 10 hours of a show. That
Right.
and since that's like how I enjoy the consumption, that's also the kind of stories I want to tell. But I would like my goal is to be on an HBO, a Showtime, Netflix,
Well,
Hulu, like
you were. Well, I mean, I know it
but
was
like but like
a
a
short
series. I
role.
want to
Oh,
be
okay.
it's so like that's my goal is to be a series regular on a show like The Wire, Sopranos, True Detective. Like that is
Gotcha.
kind of where I see myself. My career trajectory is to be on those style shows. Handmaid's Tale, like something
Right.
like that that's telling a good, strong story. Because that's where like that's where I see myself fitting in my style of acting, my
Hmm.
look. I feel like that's where my home is. So it's the goal has been getting from where I'm at, continuing to work, but working towards being a series regular on a TV show.
Hmm.
And I'm already like I've
Well, I was going to say obviously you got the experience, man, and you've been on a couple. I mean, they've been maybe like a one like The Outsiders. That was just a one season thing. I mean, I don't know if there would be a season two, but like that's not a like you said like a Sopranos or The Wire where it's 8, 9, 10 seasons because it kind of just ended. Everybody knew what happened. And the same with Stranger Things. But I think you got it, man. Like I said, man, like it's funny when you kind of look back at like the first role you ever did, or even like theater roles that you've done before, and to see who you are now is a huge progression. I did have just as kind of off topic question, and only reason I asked this because I was watching God, what's that actor in Breaking Bad, Jesse's character?
Aaron Paul.
Aaron Paul. So me and my girlfriend were watching I think it was Vox or something, where they do like house tours and stuff like that. And he had a segment where he was showing like his library or something, and he'd pull like stuff off the shelves, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I got this from this movie. I stole this off set." And I started to wonder, like, have you ever like stolen anything off of a big movie set? Just yeah, this was from this was from that.
I have not. No, I'm not. All right, so I have taken a couple things. Not
Taking the
off.
scripts.
I don't think. Oh yeah, so I have all my scripts. I've actually done some cool stuff here in my condo with
Mm-hmm.
my sides. I've done like the whole entry to my condo is just sides that I've worked on,
Oh
and like
shit.
it's super cool. You walk in, it's just like rows of all these TV shows or films I've been on. Yeah, I have taken bullets since I play a
Of
cop a
course, the
lot.
cops takes bullets.
So like, because it's like, well, it's also a lot of the stuff is, I mean, if you're taking something from like a TV show, it's like a prop that
Right.
is used. You know what I mean? So like, you're stealing from a show that's potentially going to be using the prop again.
Yeah, like
So
where'd you
like,
get that Demogorgon from?
yeah, I would try to like take anything and get that reputation, but I will admit that I've taken on a couple different shows that like if I had like a bullet loop on my belt,
Hmm.
I'll just slide one bullet out, and I'll just take like so I have a few of those, but I've been actually super lucky. This is like a joke between me and my buddies. there's wrap gifts.
Mm-hmm.
Like at the end of a project, the movie wraps, they'll usually do a wrap party, or a TV show, they'll do a wrap party, and they'll give presents to some of the actors that have been on the project for a longer period of time, type of thing. And I've been super lucky to almost always get a present every time I've worked on it. And I have like I have other buddies that have literally never gotten a single thing.
Like, wait. So what they? So like, is everybody there viewing
No,
like the awards?
They'll mail it out to you.
Okay,
like,
good.
The
Because
production shut down, and you'll get a package, like a box. So like, I worked on the TV show Underground.
okay.
And they sent us a wrap gift after the fact, and it had like a solar mobile charger for your phone,
Mm-hmm.
and
Damn.
a gym bag, and like when I worked on 13 Reasons Why, they sent me a cooler backpack,
Uh-huh.
and a fleece blanket with like 13 reasons on it. Like Deepwater
That's-
Horizon gave us like these $300 windbreaker jackets, like
Oh,
Under Armour
thanks.
t-shirts. So like, I mean, I'm kidding. Like everything I've worked on, I've literally gotten something, whether it be a hat or a jacket
Right.
or a t-shirt or swag, and none of my buddies ever get it.
Yeah. Does he like call you? It like, hey man, have you checked? Did you get any gifts or anything at all? Because I haven't seen anything. Like, no, I got nothing.
I'll be like, I know like the 13 Reasons Why cooler. Last summer, I brought it with me to the lake. And I like loaded it up with ice and like beers and stuff. And I was walking to the boat, and it says Netflix on it. And that's when two of them were like, "Where did you get that from?" And I was like, "Oh, this was the 13 Reasons Why wrap gift." And they were both like, "Every time."
Oh, no, it's just I'm like, no, did you put the right address down? Like, no, you did
like
great.
a luck thing.
You did great.
Because I typically, if I'm on a TV show, this is another reason why I leaned into the cop thing, because I've booked cop roles that were supposed to be one episode, but then they turned into like 2 episodes or 3 episodes type of deal, or 4, 5, 6. Like, so it's any of those roles that there's a possibility of it becoming recurring. It's, I mean, that's an additional day on set. That's more money. That's more residuals type of thing. Once I realized that like cops are in everything, they're on any TV show or movie, but they also come back a lot. That was another reason why I leaned into it. It's like, oh, I can probably get some more recurring roles out of this.
Exactly. There's always going to be a role for you, pretty much.
Exactly. Job security. There's never not going to be a cop. So
very true. Very true. All right. So I don't want to hold you forever. I just got a few more questions, and then I want to go over something. So I know we talked about, like you said, some of the actors that you work with, but is there any one in particular that you just would love to work with specifically?
An actor specifically?
Actor, actress, even director as well. Like, what's your dream team lineup, I guess?
I would love to work with David Chase, who created the Sopranos.
Okay.
Yeah, like I think like showrunners, people that have created shows for me. Like what I touched on earlier about like how I enjoy stories being told. I think it'd be fun to work with some of the peoples that created like Vince Gilligan, who behind Breaking Bad,
right,
or David Chase of Sopranos. Just like those types of people would be my like the obvious answers. Actor wise, if I could bring one person back from the dead, I would bring back James Gandolfini to work with him. He's definitely like one of my role models as an actor.
Okay.
I've been lucky to work with some people that I would have loved to work with, like Paul Rudd. I got to work with.
It's fun. Are these people as funny in person as they are on TV?
Yeah.
Oh man,
I've never had a bad experience with anyone I've worked with.
And I'm glad you said that, because I always wondered that. Because I've always watched I watched like Curb Your Enthusiasm, and I've seen every season, and I know it's supposed to be funny and stuff like that, but it always shows like how they really are. Kind of, it's supposed to portray how they really are behind the scenes. And I was wondering, like, man, got to be some dicks out there that nobody wants to work with.
Well,
You
yeah, I'm
know?
not gonna say I would. There definitely is. I've just been lucky, like, Helen Mirren, Wahlberg, Paul Rudd,
Mm-hmm.
man, all of like anyone that's has a name behind them. They've all been super cool to work with and super like collaborative. And even the ones that like, I try to give everybody the benefit of the doubt, and I think probably people in general should message to the world right now. The cancel culture is terrible, and we should
Mm-hmm.
start like taking a step backwards from this cancel culture and maybe like listening to each other once again. But I try to give someone the benefit of the doubt, even if they are shitty to me on set.
Right.
Because like I said, if you're the A-lister on a movie, and let's say they like Tom Cruise is in a movie and they're spending $100 million, like that studio is betting $100 million
Mm-hmm.
on Tom Cruise and that he's going to be a box office draw and that the movie's going to do well. Like that in itself,
That's a lot of pressure.
it's stressful. Like that's pressure on somebody. And then same thing with like a director. Like maybe this is this director's first time. Like they've directed a couple small movies and now they've been given like this is their first budget.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're inherently going to have some hiccups and have some stress that they don't know how to handle. So like even if I'm not going to excuse people for being a dick, some people are just like are dicks.
Right.
But I try to at least sit back and not jump to conclusions and believe like, like some of those rumors that like when Christian Bale like cursed off that crew member type of thing.
Right.
Like those stories, it's more of like a media, like it's a
they pick and
headline.
choose. Yeah, they pick and choose pretty much.
But like I'm not gonna burn some person down and kind of like write them off because they were a dick on set one time.
Right, because you don't know the situation.
I don't know what happened to them. I don't know if like I come into a movie and like I said, I'm there for a day. Like I saw,
Hey guys, all right, see you later.
Where's Crafty? I'm gonna go grab some breakfast. Like it's cool to me. Meanwhile, that dude has been on set for 3.5 weeks, working 14-hour days, and it's 105 degrees in New Orleans, and his family lives in LA. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, and
it's stressful, man. Especially when you see like people like, for instance, like The Rock. I mean, he has a reputation of just always in something, always working hard, and like you don't really know, like people don't really think about like the side effects of that. Like he has a family, he has a wife and kids and stuff like that. So yeah, man, it's something to think about. Going that's kind of like the thing about TV and the media. It's like you just see that person in that atmosphere in that environment for a quick second, and then assume that you could know everything about them in their entire life, but it's not true. So yeah, man, it's good to hear that from your point of view, because I always wonder, like, man, I know gotta be some dicks out there.
Yeah, and also understand that like a public persona is a brand, and whether people want to acknowledge that or admit that that's existence, all of us, all human beings, we're all acting.
Yeah.
All times. You know what I mean? Like how you interact with one person versus another person is different. We're all just putting on a little bit of a show,
right?
Branding something. And it's important to remember that like when The Rock is going out and doing those circuits and like pushing a project, like he is a representative of the movie.
Right.
Like he's not even like, he's not necessarily The Rock in that, he's not Dwayne Johnson right there. He's in a controlled environment trying to sell the brand and butts and seats and type of thing. So like, even like these interviews, whether it's on the news or social media or something, you're not even really seeing the person
for who they are,
who they really are.
Yeah.
You're seeing who they're letting you see. And I think that's fine. That's how it should be. But we all need to like the compassion of it. Like, let's have compassion for each other. Let's have a little bit of understanding. Let's take a step back and not just like so quick to judge and throw this hate on somebody when like,
you don't even know.
You don't even know. Like if you cannot form a hatred opinion of somebody.
Yeah,
After,
like
exposure for that short period.
the Rock did sign autograph. That guy's an asshole.
Yeah, like like fuck this guy. He didn't sign it. Like, I mean, chill, man. Like, for all you know, he was trying to leave to get to his child's recital.
Turns out he has arthritis. You
like
can't even write.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, is it sign your autograph or go see his daughter's, dance recital or daughter's soccer game, whatever it's like. We have this entitlement thing. You touched on it earlier. Like, remove the entitlement. Chill. He's a person. You're a person. Let him live his life. He'll be fine.
Exactly. If he wants to sign it, he'll sign it. So I got this, and this is I got a few quotes here. I want to play just a quick game with you. I got some of your lines, and they're quick, they're short. You probably know them. Obviously I didn't watch every movie you're in. And I want to read like a couple quotes, and let's just see if you could kind of pinpoint a name that the film that is from that you're in. All right. So the first one is pretty easy. You two want to end up on the world's slowest police chases? Where's that?
These are secret.
That was too easy for you. That was way too easy. All right, don't worry, it'll get harder. Second one, and excuse my acting because it's horrible, but you said, "My little brother."
Deepwater Horizon.
What a great line. So you come in, it's like all you have to say is "my little brother."
We're shooting that, and Pete Berg was yelling to me off set, like, and I mean, this is the coolest set I've ever been on. There's shit shooting from the ceiling. There's like flares. There's like sparks flying at me. I got Mark Wahlberg like in my face, like trying to pull me off the ground, and Pete Berg is off set going like, "Say it again. Say it again one more time."
My little brother.
Who? Tell me again. Who is it? And I'm like, it was just like over and over and over and over and over again.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. I got one more. This last one. Now, this one, this is only 2 words, but I don't know, man. This is a tough one. This may not be a feature film or anything like that. All right, you ready? Let me put my acting face on real quick. This ass?
Wait, one more time?
This ass. With a question.
Oh, a gay thing. That was a play I did years ago. Yep.
I didn't think you would get that one. I didn't think because it was real quick. Yeah, Will, and like I said, shout out to Will. He sent me that link on YouTube, which I will watch the whole thing. That's crazy, man. So do you remember all your lines pretty much that you've ever done?
Probably a lot of them. Yeah, especially like TV film stuff. I have a pretty good memory. And it's gotten better.
I was gonna say, like,
well, it's a muscle, man. Just like you go to the gym, you leave the gym for a couple months. What's that first month back? That first month back is miserable.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
It's the same thing with up here, like memorization. But I naturally I have a very good conversational memory. So like, I'm pretty weird. I don't listen to music really at all. But I legit.
Why not?
It's just never something. I have a difficult time understanding the lyrics when I listen to music. Mm-hmm. It's difficult for me to catch lyrics. Whether it doesn't matter. Any kind of music. So I'm more find myself if I'm listening. I like beats and hooks and stuff like that. Like that's more what I try to catch into.
Okay.
So like if I'm just chilling in my place and I'm cleaning. I either got my earbuds in and I'm listening to a podcast,
like a hum.
I'm just like the Bill Simmons podcast, Pod Save America. Like I'm legit listening to podcasts, and if I'm not listening to a podcast, I'm listening to a TV show. Like I will put The Office on, and I'll just let it run in the background as I'm doing stuff. Like I enjoy listening to dialogue, and like dialogue is kind of like my music, if that makes any sense.
Well, you heard it, folks. Dialogue is Robert's music. That ass. No, I'm just kidding.
That ass.
Damn. All right. Maybe I should try that. Switch it up a little bit. I not listen to so much nonsense that's kind of poisoning my brain at the moment. But yeah, man. Like that's impressive, man. Like I can't even remember. I don't know my great grandmother's name. I'm just kidding. In case my mom's listening. But yeah. So Rob, what's obviously you have a great career. What's with the COVID going on? I know it's been a setback for everybody, but as far as future, man, what's the plans? What do you want to tell the people? What should I look forward
Well,
to?
it's funny that we're segueing because like I was literally just I'm going to touch really what we were just talking about a second,
Yeah,
and
go
it
ahead.
segues into what your question is right now. I think part of the reason that I enjoy dialogue so much is because I understand as an actor the importance of listening
Mm-hmm.
and talking to people and being present in the moment and being perceptive of what people's body languages are. So I'm constantly, ever since I've like really just the last 10 years, I would say, and maybe before that I was just naturally doing this. For the last 10 years though, especially, I recognize that every day of my life I'm training to be the best actor I can.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't have to do with reading a play or going to acting class. Like those are all very important things. But I find that actual human interaction to me is the best tool. So if I'm in a conversation with someone, I try to be really perceptive to what are their traits when they're listening to me? Do they have any tells? Is this person able to maintain eye contact with me?
Mm-hmm.
Do they do a certain thing when they start to feel uncomfortable? Do they have a tendency to interrupt? If they do have a tendency to do that, how are they doing that
Mm-hmm.
interruption? So like it's always been like a very micro study of interaction
Right.
that has got me to this place. And moving forward, like what you have coming forward for me is I'm actually taking the entire month of July and I'm
Mm-hmm.
going on a road trip around the entire country with 5 of my buddies.
Were you?
So
Which way you guys started or headed? I guess.
we're headed north. Our first stop is going to be in Louisville.
Okay.
We're going to go. There's a cave system about 2 hours out of Louisville.
Okay.
We're going to go into the caves for a couple hours, and then we're going to camp in Louisville, and then from there we're going to start heading west. I think our second stop is St. Louis,
Okay.
and then from there we're going to head to Colorado. From Colorado, we're going to go north
Wait,
into.
from St. Louis to Colorado, and you guys stopping in between?
We'll probably do like
Just
one
jump
stop
over that real
in
quick.
there. Yeah, we're just do like. I mean, we're getting together Monday to really like fleece out exactly what our trip is, but. Yeah, man, we're going to be on the road for literally the entire month. We leave next Wednesday, July 1st, and we're going to be on the road for 30 days. We're going to see like
Damn.
20 states. We're going to Washington, Oregon, California, Nevada, Utah, like all of them. We're going to go hikes.
Do, do you think everybody's gonna make it? Like 15 days, somebody's gonna be like, "All right, you guys, I'm out. I can't.
I got a
I can't."
buddy, my buddy, one of the dudes that's coming with us. He's supposed to be shooting a short film in Miami on the 18th.
Oh,
He
okay.
said he's going to most likely, no matter where we are, he's going to drive back to get to Miami on the 18th, and then he's going to drive on the 19th or the 20th back to
Back.
where we are and meet us on our next destination.
Why did you take a? Is it? Are flights not going out anymore? Like, why did you
He's
take a
already gonna
flight?
have his truck with him, so it's either he would be leaving his truck in a place that we're not, you know what I mean? We're not gonna be
What?
when he gets back.
She said on the 8th. Let me write this down, just in case he doesn't make it and need somebody to fill in. All right, Miami, July 18th. All right. Auditions. I'm
Yeah,
kidding.
man, I'm just excited to see. You know, I haven't seen a lot of this place, a lot of these states in our country, and I just want to see what the United States looks like. I
Mm-hmm.
think, I don't know if there's going to be another time like this. Like the world shut down. There's
Being able to
nothing.
travel.
The fact that I can afford it. I don't have any family that's tying me down.
Right.
My work's shut down. That I just want to go around and I want to see the country. I'm going to do some camping. I want to find myself and just find a separation. I'm going to unhook and kind of
Are
just disappear for a month.
Are you guys gonna film it? Like the
Yeah, man, I
journey?
bought a drone that I'm gonna get some cool stuff with, and I got a GoPro that I'm gonna hook up in my car to get more of like a cool like time lapse video of the entire trip.
Damn,
And then
that's pretty.
we're gonna shoot some random stuff, maybe like, hey, let's do something kind of thing off the
Right.
cuff. But we're all pretty open to
I don't know,
just.
man. I don't want to catch you on TikTok doing a whole bunch of dances over the Grand Canyon or something like that.
I love TikTok, but I will not be doing any dances in the Grand Canyon.
TikTok, I have one, but I just, I'm at that point where it's like I don't feel like learning how to do that.
Oh, I have the app. I don't even have a profile. I don't like.
Oh, you could do it like that? You don't
You
have to
can
have a
literally just
profile?
download TikTok and just watch TikTok. You
I'm
don't
like,
need to even log in.
oh, I thought I made a profile. And I was like, all right,
Oh
what
no,
do I
bro.
do with this? Just
I love it. I think it's funny because it's like you can get anything on there. You know, like I'm a big gamer, so I see a lot of like Call of Duty
whoa,
videos.
time out. Rewind. You're a big gamer.
I'm all about it. Warzone.
Oh
Warzone
my
and NBA
bad.
2K.
Listen, we're gonna exchange gamer tags because literally that's all. Like since March up until now, that's all I've been doing. Besides this, is Warzone. Like my relationship is in jeopardy right now because of Warzone.
I put a solid 5 hours of Warzone in last night, dude. I'm all about it.
Clock in.
I
Let me clock in real quick. All right, take a lunch break. That's great. That's great. Well, Rob, man, like I said, I mean, you've done a lot of great things, and man, I need to come up to Atlanta and obviously visit you. Not next month, but the month after my audition in Miami on July 18th. But yeah, man. But yeah, man. Like I said, man, I keep my eye on you. I'm always watching. I know as far as like Instagram, because I'm big on Instagram and stuff like that. But I know you're not too active on there. But just let our listeners know, like, where can we find you if we want to look up some stuff or follow you or whatever on any platform.
I would. It's tough, man, because I've been actually purging. I got off Facebook back in 2016,
Mm-hmm.
deactivated it.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't been back on. And I have an Instagram page, but I've been pretty inactive as of late. Social media just really, I don't know, man. I've been trying to repurpose to more human contact
Okay.
and try to get back to that place in the world because I don't think what's going on social media right now and for a while now is healthy anymore. You know, it's a lot of people with the same types of opinions talking to each other and not being willing to listen to anyone that doesn't have the same opinion. You know, and there's a lot of just like misinformation and shit being spread. I
Oh,
would say
definitely, especially on Facebook.
my Instagram page is still active. I keep it up because I do a lot of like philanthropic work.
Okay.
That's something I really enjoy. So I keep that up there for that.
Okay.
Something I'm super. I really love Build On, as they're a nonprofit organization that builds schools
Oh,
in
nice.
underdeveloped countries. So that's why I keep my Instagram page on, so I can keep people in the loop on like what my excursions with Build On are. But we did last June we built a school in Malawi.
Okay. Where's that at?
It's in southern Africa. It's right by Mozambique.
Okay.
It's a really small country. It's only formed in like.
How long did it take?
So we were there for a week. We start the build, and then the villagers finish the build. So it takes about 6 to 8 weeks.
So like, this is the blueprints. This is how you do this. All right, we can't be here forever. Peace out.
It was a hard week. It was something else, you know. But you're working alongside the villagers.
That's pretty cool. That's amazing, man.
Yeah, we raised, that was $35,000 we raised to build that one, and we just raised another $35,000 to build a school in Guatemala. So once the pandemic is all figured out, we're going to go down to Guatemala probably at the end of 2021 to build a school, and we already have a campaign that we're about 20% funded on.
Okay.
We need to raise, I think, 30 grand. And we're going to go build a school in Nicaragua as well. So,
damn, man. So you just, I don't know. You're building schools all over. Nothing wrong with that, obviously.
Just try to understand what the whole point is. Like, why we're all here. What are we doing?
That's true. If you're not helping anybody, you know, you're hurting, I assume. But damn, Robert, that's impressive, man. I'm really, you know, I want to see the end video of this trip that you guys go on, and obviously I want to see if that guy makes it July 18th. But besides that, Rob, I mean, you've been great. You've been a great guest. You know, I wish my co-host was here to. I know he had a couple questions he wanted to ask you as well, but we'll have to save that for another time. Yeah, Rob, thanks for coming out. As far as, you know, like I said, I'll have this out to you, I don't know, within maybe a couple of days, man. Check it out. And to those of our listeners here, thanks for tuning in to the weekly review. And we'll see you guys next week. Deuces.